Cincy stereophonic sound for the home is recorded on two separate tracks, each one giving special emphasis to certain sections of the orchestra, as heard from those positions. Now, when played back simultaneously on two separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension in sound impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
Straight into it. Good morning, everybody. If you're listening and beyond inside the Cincinnati area, my name is Nathan Ivy. Welcome back to the Nathan Ivy Show, aka Nathan Has Nerve, and I have nerve enough to break it down and keep it real with you on a myriad of issues. But let me start the show off properly. Back from my hiatus, politicking on the latest. Good morning, everybody. As I said, my name is Nate Ivy. Good morning. Now, it's been my experience since I've been on digitally, and it was the same experience I had in commercial radio, that the holidays, days like today, are a little bit out of rhythm for a lot of people. I understand the rhythms much better than I ever have before in my life in terms of the rhythms of when people listen to this show in particular, but, this kind of audio entertainment in general. And I get it. This might be a break in your routine. Good morning to you, Jesse, and others, people who have shared the show this morning. I appreciate you. Wasn't, of course, with you yesterday or the day before. I am a little bit under the weather. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I ate. I mean, maybe I got some bad cranberries. I got some bad stuffing or something. But, man, the last 12 hours, I say the last 24 hours, 12 hours, not so good. Not so good for your boy. Oh, my gosh. What am I doing? Oh, hold on. Let me take care of that real quick. I see a grammatical error. Let me change this really quickly. I appreciate you. So I'm not sure what your schedule is for today. It could be that on today you are not at work today. Is that the case? Is that the case? Is this a break in your routine? If so, let me know. I'd like to know, if you're not at work today, chances are you got a good job or you work for yourself, meaning that you had the holiday on Thursday, so why go to work on a Friday? Now, there are millions upon millions, and if not tens of thousands of people inside the Cincinnati area that have to go to work today. Okay, some of you are entrepreneurs. This is what you do. You got to hold it down. Unless you're out there grinding, you ain't making no money. The day after Thanksgiving, it's just a Friday, right? It means nothing. It's just a Friday. That's it. Nothing more. But of course, today is the day after Thanksgiving, and hopefully you had a chance to just unplug and just get out of the rat race and the matrix a little bit. You get a chance to fellowship with your family, get a chance to kick it with people that you like, people that you love. Hopefully you got a chance. You took my advice. You had some family time. You had family meeting time where everybody sat down and you talk business, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Talk a little business. In fact, it's not over with. The opportunity is not just on Thanksgiving per se. You got the whole weekend. In a lot of cases, people have traveled. They're going to be staying with family throughout the whole weekend. So you still got time to have that conversation with your family and strategize. What I mean by that, Nate? What are you talking about? Talk business. Talk about how you're going to stack your chips. Talk about how you and your families and your cousins and everybody went out to college. Everybody want to do something big for the family. Boom. Pool your resources. Start a family business. Why not? Or maybe you spend a little 15 minutes talking about making sure Big Mama, she's got her arrangements and her affairs in order, that we know where the Social Security card is. We know where all the identification and the papers and all that stuff is. You know, because when something happens, man, you're so rock ready motion, you don't have time. It's just, it makes it worse if you got to do that. I've been there. I've seen it done both ways. The better way is to think ahead. That's what the holidays are for. That's the new holidays in black families in the new millennium. In the new millennium, we can't afford just to get together and talk about nothing. Can't afford to do it. Good morning to you. I'll throw the number out if, in fact, there's anyone who may want to give us a call this morning. You're more than welcome to feel free to do so. 513-873-7134, broadcasting live from beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio. Man, I've loved all of the pictures that I've seen on my social media from my friends what in the hell? What are you doing? I see all kinds of images, man. I see all kinds of images. What is this? Mahogany's 2.0. What is this? Oh, what? What? Oh, I'm loving it. What is that? Is that the new Mahogany's? Mahogany's at the banks? What? Loving it. Okay. That's great. I love it. Great stuff. But I love seeing all the images that people posted about their family and just getting together and just chilling, eating, laughing, because we need that. We need that in this crazy ass world that we live in. Donald Trump's the president. We got an inch of topsoil left. Parents are terrified as hell when they send their kids to school because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if it's going to be a shooting because one of the students is who knows what. Parents don't love them. Kids been bullying them. Administration didn't do anything about it. Teachers bullying. You never know these days. You walk through the streets. You can't be safe because you never know. You never know what you're dealing with. Could be dealing with a white supremacist. For that matter, you get pulled over by law enforcement. You never know. So it's great to come together, even if it's just for a little while, and get together about something or around something that's okay. I see people going all the way out with the Thanksgiving. What is that? I don't know what the hell that is. I would never eat that. I don't know what that is. Somebody posted some of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, man. Okay, I love it. I love it. Good morning to you. So how was your Thanksgiving? Were you off for Thanksgiving? Are you a Thanksgiving kind of person? Do you not celebrate that white man's religion? What is your usual ritual? How do you feel? Did you completely go off your diet? Did you set a new record? Did you go back for 3 plates? Ladies, if you're in a family setting, you already know. It doesn't matter what age you are. Did you prepare your man's plate? I don't care. You've been married 20 years. Did you get his plate first? That is just the rules, ladies. Now, I'm speaking to a lot of smart, intelligent people. I know they already know. Ashley's in the house. She writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Colin Kaepernick's conscious. Good morning, folks. I don't care if you had a good holiday or not. Just buy my new Air March on Washington sneakers debuting next month. If you don't, you not woke. But I'm not going to tell nobody they not woke. I don't talk. I just toy with gullible folks' emotions. Well, I can see what you're on, Colin Kaepernick's consciousness. Man, listen, I told you again. I mean, to me, I never said that you were wrong. I never said that you were wrong about your theory about Colin Kaepernick in terms of what he's doing now, being some type of plot and Nike and he doesn't really want to play. As I've always said, it doesn't really matter if Colin Kaepernick is in the NFL or not. I thought it was a goal that ultimately didn't serve too many people outside of Colin Kaepernick. So what? And then after that fiasco with the so-called tryout, I think it's even more obvious that Colin Kaepernick doesn't want to play. Why would he? He wants to make this moment. I just don't understand what the point is. It's just so you file a lawsuit against the NFL, alleging, among other things, and being very general, that you are blackballed because of something less than your physical prowess and capabilities. They settle out of court. He doesn't talk about that. Then he goes back to this press conference and said, "We ready. We don't have nothing to hide." Number one, who is we? I don't understand the we. When Colin Kaepernick says we this and we that, who is he talking about? That's number one. And then number two, no NFL teams have called Colin Kaepernick. And at this point, why would they? If you're an NFL team, why would you call Colin Kaepernick? Because it seems to me that if he gets on a team, that he might be more committed into making political statements than he would be actually playing football. Now, I don't know if that's fair or not, but from what I've observed with that so-called training camp, tryout, whatever the hell they want to call it, I mean, that's one way that a lot of objective and reasonable people are going to look at it. They're going to look at it and say, oh, this man don't really want to play because he had a shot and he blew it, basically. So, like I said, man, real reform when it comes to the NFL, and we completely sidetracked. You know, the real reform when it comes to the NFL would be a couple things. Number one, not just that the NFL allows its largely 70% African-American ball players to make protests and make statements during the game or during the time of the game. That should never have been taken away from them, because the NFL forced them to stand up and have to pledge allegiance to the flag before they go out and do their business. How many businesses, how many industries force you to do that, compel you to do that, contractually obligate you to do that? Not a whole lot of them. So when they open that door, they open that spectacle and create a platform, they shouldn't be surprised when players also project their own personal consciousness, you know, into the media or into the pageantry as well. It just never made any sense to me. Real reform in the NFL is like this. It would be nice if the various owners, like including the Brown family, would come back to the city, come back to the county and renegotiate the deal for the betterment of the county and not just themselves. That would be a win for people in all those NFL towns. Or if, you know, maybe the ownership, like imagine Paul Brown, instead of just saying, okay, it's okay if you exercise your First Amendment rights, bingo player. Instead of saying that, he becomes an active agent, positive agent for change within Hamilton County as it relates to that issue. That's what real reform is. Real reform in the NFL means that the players and the former players and current players and future players own a team. Or you have more than just one majority, minority owned NFL team. That's a win. Colin Kaepernick getting a job back on the NFL team is not a win, except for him. I saw a photo of some chitlin tacos. I hate people. You saw a photo of some chitlin tacos. What in the hell? What? That don't even sound right, man. Don't even sound right. Don't even sound right. What? Chitlin tacos? But you know what? I can see somebody doing that nasty-ish. Like I said, man, I can't eat everybody's food. I can't eat everybody's food. If you invite me to your house and we doing Thanksgiving, we're going to bring something to eat. We'll bring something to drink, right? There's just certain things I just can't eat, like potato salad. I can't eat everybody's potato salad. I don't know what you're doing with that. Are you mixing it with your hand? I don't know what you're doing when I'm not in front of you. Everybody already knows, I'll say it again if you don't know, sweet potato pie. My grandmother used to make sweet potato pies for me every Thanksgiving. She would make them for everybody, and she would put 2 pies to myself. And for like 2 weeks, I'd be smashing sweet potato pies, right? Nothing like a sweet potato pie that's made with a black woman's hands. My grandmother migrated from the South. Okay, Southern woman. Grew up on a farm. She could get down in the kitchen. When she passed away, I disavowed sweet potato pie. No more pie for me. It is what it is. It is what it is. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate in the chopper. Say good morning to you, Sharp. Hey, listen, everybody, take a second and share this show. Let people know that we are on this morning. Now, I may sound a little bit under the weather. That's because I am. I had a bad chitlin taco yesterday. I'm joking. It wasn't a chitlin taco. I don't know what it was. But it didn't agree with me. I woke up this morning, last night before I was going to bed. I was not good. Not good. But it's my pleasure to be with you this morning, as always. I'll throw the number out to the ether, 513-873-7134. We'll see if we can catch a call here or there with folks who may want to share your thoughts about whatever's going on. I do have a few things that I want to talk about this morning that will range in interest. It will range in interest. Like some of this stuff will be like political. Some of this stuff will be less political. It might be cultural. We might even dibble and dabble in the world of sports per se. Have you heard about this Jeff Lanham guy? He's a Bengal fan that's living on his roof. Well, he's living on the roof of his restaurant in Indiana. He's got a restaurant in Indiana, and he's trying to, gain attention for his business. So basically, he's doing the whole Wild Man Walker. Now, for folks who go way back, take you back to September of 1991, you had Dennis Wildman Walker, who was a personality on WEBN radio, and he sat on top of a billboard on 7th Street and Culver Street for who was he out there for a while. He was out there for some days because he said he was going to stay up there until the Bengals won a game. And so now this Jeff Latham guy is doing the same thing. So he's on top of the roof of his restaurant, Hog Rock Cafe. And you know what? I bet you that there's a lot of people that are going to come out and watch him. He's in Indiana. He's a Bengal fan in Indiana. What about the Colts? So this guy's been living on the roof basically with space heaters. He's got the internet up there watching Netflix until the Bengals win a game. Now, I hope he's up there for about 3 years. Wait, hey, hold on. Let me see it. So Tracy Hunter was in jail for 78 days? So if you got a 16-game season, that means that, I want the Bengals to lose for about 5 years. About 4.8, 4 years, 8 months, something like that. So we'll just round it up to 5 years. I want the Bengals to lose for 5 years straight, and I want him to be out there on the top of his roof for 5 years. Now, that would be dedication. That's what I want to see. The chitlin tacos are on my Instagram page. Mason Muller writes, morning, Nate. And the Choppers, tricks are for kids, make grown man moves. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate. And the Choppers say good morning to you. Again, I already know how it is. I mean, today essentially is like a holiday for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Because, the Nathan Ivey Show listenership are working class people, entrepreneurs. These are people that on a day like today, they might have a day off. You know what I'm saying? They're like, man, I don't have to get up. I'll listen to Nate later. And I totally understand it. Totally understand it. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Here's a reason for any woman who hears this, as if you did need more, or that you needed more of a reason. But have you been paying attention to the case coming out of Chicago where a young woman was brutally raped and murdered? Why am I talking about it? She was strangled to death, and she was a University of Illinois Chicago honor student. Well, apparently she had just been dropped off like a night with her friends. She gets out of the Uber and she's walking to her car. And that's not really uncommon, right? Like a lot of people will Uber to their car, or if they're out with friends, let's say they go somewhere directly from some kind of event or from work. And then they'll just go out and say, hey, let's drop me back at my car. And then they'll walk to their car and then drive home, right? Well, that's what she was trying to do. This young woman was minding her own damn business. Her name is Ruth George, 26. I'll take that back. She wasn't 26. She was younger than 26. So she walks past this dude, and dude is catcalling her. Hey, baby, this, oh, you looking good. Oh, you got a man. You know, you've heard it all, right? Well, apparently she ignores him. And that enraged him to the point where he follows her into the parking garage. Comes up behind her as she's getting into her car, chokes her out. Throws her into the back of the car. She's on her belly, pulls her panties down. You know what happens after that. Surveillance video shows him following her in, and then 30 minutes afterward, him leaving. Now, apparently this guy was recently paroled, and he had been paroled for some other stuff. I'm looking at this fool right now. I hope somebody beats his, I hope he gets strangled in prison. I hope he gets raped in prison. Now that would be justice to me. I mean, just out of the blue, just random. Police say it's just random. She had aspirations of a medical career. She had just left an event with a friend, dropped off. It wasn't an Uber, it was a Lyft. And she's walking to her car alone where she encounters this dude. He tried to do something like, catcall her. I mean, damn, does a woman have to like fake give out her number or something like that just to not get assaulted? He followed her into the parking garage where he strangled her and raped her. Strangled her. When she's unconscious, he rapes her. How they find him? This fool returned to the scene of the crime a day or so later. Police picked him up. Her family had no idea where she was, and then a friend found her in the car, face down. Obviously, she had been sexually assaulted and dead. Could you imagine that? Now, imagine she had her weapon on her. She had her concealed carry permit on her. She could have put a hole straight in the center of his head, put it straight in his heart, and she'd be home right now. So, ladies, I don't care if it's a weapon, like an actual like gun, mace, knife. I don't care whatever it is, but you can never assume that you're safe when you're in public, because you're not. And who knows, there could have been some persons that saw what was going on. I mean, do you know how fast somebody can render you unconscious if they come up from behind you and catch you? I mean, even if you're a grown man, depending on how strong you are, somebody come up behind you like that, they got enough strength and they can firmly put their arms around you. It is a wrap. It's night-night time for you. It is night-night time for you. And if you're a female and you're dealing with a male who has some size and some strength, he comes up behind you like that, you don't have no chance in the world. You don't have no chance in the world. You have no chance in the world. Got to keep your eyes up. Ladies, how many times have you encountered like some dude was catcalling you, and whether it was something about that person, the way they said it, or your surroundings, you just got a bad vibe, your spider sense went off. What did you do? Did you try to play it off like, oh, I'm flattered, but oh, thank you. Oh, I like your hair. You got to flatter this psycho just so this guy can feel good enough not to follow you in there and rape you. And he's now been charged with murder, no bail, and sex assault. This is crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. And you got to watch people, man, because people will watch you getting in and out of your Lyft or your Uber. Right. And depending on, I'll say it again, people are way too trusting these days. They're way too trusting. They will get into these Lyft services, these Uber services, these rideshare services. They'll be passed out or nearly to the point of passed out in a stranger's vehicle, stumble out of their car. I mean, listen, if you're a predator, you watch. You just got to do is sit back and watch. People are so sloppy these days. You just never know, man. It's been situations where I've read stories where Uber drivers drop somebody off, take them to the airport, like, oh, y'all leaving, go to the Bahamas? Cool. He remembers the address, goes back to the house and robs the place. But the idiot didn't know they had surveillance cameras that were even outside. So he got caught. telling you, man, there are people out there always trying to scheme up on you. Always. Gotta watch it. So last time we spoke, which was Wednesday, we were talking about the fact that the body had not been recovered of a worker. There was a terrible, tragic accident that happened at a downtown construction site, and there was at least one worker whose body had not been found. Well, since the last time we spoke, that person's body has been found. So I know we were holding out some prayers that, in fact, this individual will be found alive. But when I started to realize the details of it, it didn't really look too good. But the man who was missing has been found dead. Found him dead. And that's just a terrible way to go. I mean, basically drowning in wet cement. Just a terrible, terrible thing. Yeah, very, very terrible. Last night is what they say is one of the busiest, or maybe it was the night before, one of the busiest bar nights. Yeah, people going to bars last night. Did you go to the bar last night? Well, did you go downtown last night? Apparently at around midnight, there was a shooting at the Chalet Bar in the 900 block of Race downtown. Witnesses say they heard gunshots, and then there was people running away from the scene. And two victims, males in their 20s, were both taken to nearby hospitals. Looking at a photograph of it right now. Were you downtown last night? Did you see any of this? Were you at the Chalet last night? What kind of clientele go to the Chalet? I've never been there. I think I know where it is, but I've never been there before, man. It gets crazy. It's crazy out here. Mason Marler writes, shit, I'm at work listening. Everybody at home knocked out but me. My man Mason Marler on the JOB, huh? Do what you got to do. Nathan, that Indiana guy stopped and went home. I couldn't believe local news even covered dude. All these homeless folks and this dude horsing around, right? He's not horsing around. He's trying to bring some attention to his business. That's what he's trying to do. That's why he's on the roof of his business. He's like trying to he must be a sports bar or something like that. I don't know. I've never been there before, but must be a sports bar or something to that degree. Let's see here. Oh my God. What the hell? Yeah, grab him. A little bit of news you may or may not be able to use, and this is what you will say is I'd say this probably is because of the streaming wars. Okay, so right now you have what people are calling the streaming wars. And what that means is everything's about live stream these days in terms of entertainment. So like Netflix is a streaming service where if you have the internet, you can stream the TV shows and the entertainment options that they have. Well, Netflix has been so popular that people start copycatting it. And so you got a Hulu and you got other streaming services. You got some streaming services where they just only do black media. Okay, all black media, black owned. Well, Apple Plus is in the game now. Apple Plus. Disney Plus is in the game as well. Disney Plus, different streaming service. So it used to be that if you wanted to watch Disney stuff, all you had to do was go on Netflix because Netflix was playing Disney sort of like, a fee in order to stream their content. Well, their content was so popular on Netflix that they decided to branch away and create Disney Plus. So now are the streaming wars where these big entertainment 21st century companies, they're all fighting for your subscription dollars on a monthly basis. Well, in that effort, Disney Plus is now reviving the Proud Family. Not sure if you're hip to that. If you don't have any young children, you probably don't. Well, if you're black and you have children, then you're probably searching for animated entertainment, children sort of centered things that, reflects what your children look like in their own experiences. So the Proud Family was an anime or is an animated show that depicts a black family. Right? Depicts a black family. And it was big in like the early 2000s, like 2001 to 2005, and then they discontinued it. Well, they're bringing it back next year. Brand new episodes. Tell your grandbabies. You can tell your children. Tell the youth. who might be into it. Tell parents that might be into it. And that's quite interesting. The show was created by Bruce Smith and was one of only a few animated series that, centered at the time that featured an animated middle-class black family as main characters. Remember this? You had Penny Proud, and then you had the father, and he was like always in something. Something was going on, but he loved his kids, went to work every day. It's a little something different. So that'll be back, the Proud family. Just in time for Junior. Junior's 4 right now. As his father, I'm always looking for cool stuff for he to look at and get into that, I don't have to be upset with. His mama has let him watch certain things. I walk in the room like, what in the hell? Where the black people at? Literally. They're like, oh, God, here we go. He ain't watching this? Then I got to break his little heart because he's like, I want to watch it. Mama let him watch this nonsense, or his sister. And then I come in, and in 3 seconds, I'm like, doop, doop, doop. No, this ain't good. This ain't good. This is not culturally enriching my child. Proud family. That's pretty dope. Great. It's great to hear. Huh? The hell? Oh, my God. Fed up teacher calls out, huh? How we kill our sons long before they die in the streets. I gotta check that out. It's interesting. Celebrating the day Americans fed undocumented aliens from Europe. That's hilarious. Trump has spent $115 million on golf trips, or 287 years of presidential salary. I mean, what'd you expect? What did you expect? Yeah, Trump loves the golf. You know you was getting. And didn't he talk all this trash about Obama? Oh, Obama's probably somewhere golfing. When I'm president, I'm just not going to have time to golf. That's what he does more than anything else. That's what Trump does best, golf and talk ish. I see the crew's formulating. John #Glorious writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, John #Glorious. As always, how was your Thanksgiving? How was it Thanksgiving? Any good, great Thanksgiving stories? Love to hear them. Okay, are you awaking from your food slumber? How many people had a food coma? If you were in a food coma within the last 12 hours, I would like to know. You know what I'm talking about. You just keep going back for more. Just keep going back for more. You've had enough. But I get it. Man, listen, how many people are going to have leftovers for the next week? Turkey burgers, turkey casserole, turkey and rice, having cranberry. How many people had Thanksgiving dinner for breakfast this morning? People eating things, you're sitting there eating turkey and greens and stuffing. You know it's too damn early for macaroni and cheese, but you're doing it anyway, aren't you? I know. How many people eat your leftovers cold? Straight up, man. Listen, we ain't got to deal with this. Put it straight on the plate, straight out the refrigerator. I'm good. You good? Is that you? It is what it is. Let me see here. Let's talk about Meg Whitman. Meg Whitman is a billionaire. And over the weekend, it was reported that she now has an ownership stake in FC Cincinnati. She is a white female. She's a former chief executive author of several noteworthy tech brands. And now she's going to be a minority owner of FC Cincinnati. Did you know? And I just thought this was quite amazing. And this goes back to what I said earlier about Cincinnati and the school board punking out and not really getting what I thought could have been a better deal. I thought what I was hoping is that city council would craft out a deal that would be like one of a kind. It would be a beacon for other similar deals around the country. They didn't do that. That's not what happened. Well, apparently the new minority owners, she got 20% of FC Cincinnati for $100 million. The investment brings FC Cincinnati's valuation to an estimated $500 million. So FC Cincinnati's valuation is $500 million already. Now, who did this valuation? Does that sound high to you or low to you? And in 10 years, what will be the valuation for FC Cincinnati? It'll probably be over $1 billion. And so city council was hemming and hawing with haggling back and forth over pennies. $100,000 here, $100,000 there. Meanwhile, all of those decisions created an infrastructure for the ownership of FC Cincinnati to one day have a business that's worth $1 billion. Think about that. It's worth $500 million right now. They just got started and they suck. They ain't won a damn thing. Nothing. $500,000 valuation. Now, to what degree is the various sweetheart deals that FC Cincinnati got a part of that valuation? Like, we know that every single year, the port's going to allow them to re-up and sign a new contract. They're going to be able to skirt some taxes. How's that fair? The West End has never had any investment. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. It's racist for people to say that, quite honestly, because what you're doing is you're overlooking the fact that people live in the West End and have lived in the West End. There's been businesses in the West End. It may not look like over the Rhine, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That is crazy. And I'll say it again. If you're a hardcore FC Cincinnati fan, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting none of that. All you're going to get next year, and when they move into the stadium, is increased ticket sales, increased beer sales. That's it. They're just going to create a place where they can charge you everything that you already getting right now. I'll say it again. Cincinnati never needed FC Cincinnati to go to the major leagues. They were great where they were. They were winning. It was one of the few professional sports franchises that was actually winning. Now they're losing because they're in the major league, so to speak, of soccer. And what have we gotten out of it? People could say, well, they got a new Stargell Stadium. Well, they just had a start. And they already had a stadium. I'm sure the deal's going to work out. And again, I still don't understand, like, with the school board. When we talk with the school board members prior to the school board election in November, many of the members, the current school board members that we talked to, expressed the same viewpoint when it came to it. That if they didn't vote in the way that they did, that city council was going to use eminent domain or some other type of legal maneuver was going to be used to make the deal go through anyway. And I just find that to be remarkable. Very remarkable. Is that true? Meanwhile, they got a business worth $500 million, all owned by a very real. So Meg Whitman is a very wealthy person. She's a billionaire. And she just bought a 20% stake in a company that's getting tax exemptions every single year from the Port Authority. Can you explain to me how that makes sense? Now, people might be saying, well, Nate, if you don't do this, it won't be attractive. I don't believe that. You know, being a major league owner of a professional team is worth its weight in gold. You're going to make money no matter what, especially when they get that new stadium up in the West End, get the pricing together. Man, every time you walk out of there, they're going to hit you for $100. $500 million. Already. And I'll say it again. What do we get out of it? I'm a Cincinnatian. What am I getting out of it? Oh, it's going to bring jobs. Really? Okay. We shall see. It must be nice. You know what? I think I'll take 20% of FC Cincinnati. I mean, I guess it'll guarantee when she comes to town, she'll get great seats. Yeah, everybody wants some of that money. You know why? Because these major league teams, They set it up so you can't lose money. Okay, so it looks like Carl Leonard III is the team governor. She's going to serve as FC Cincinnati alternate governor. She'll be the sixth woman to join the board of governors. That is great. That's just great. That is just great. I mean, it's great for FC Cincinnati because they get a partner with deep pockets and a lot of connections. But again, my question is, if I don't live in the West End, or if I do live in the West End, what am I getting out of it? Not a damn thing. That's what you're getting out of it. Not a damn thing. Lawrence writes, I'm at a client's house working, and guess what she's eating for breakfast? Turkey and stuffing. That's right. That's what you do, man. Turkey and stuffing. How many people having macaroni and cheese this morning? Cranberry sauce this morning? I know what it is. Smash. Enjoy. Enjoy your food. Enjoy your blessings. And be thankful you can fellowship with your family. That's what it's all about. And have that talk about business. Have that family business talk. Black Russia's in the house. She writes, good morning. Renee's in the house. She writes, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I figured it'd be a light day in terms of the interactions because it's almost like a holiday for a lot of working class people, a lot of entrepreneurs. Although if you're an entrepreneur, you got to do everything yourself. So you may be at work this day. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But a lot of folks, today is going to be a little unusual, right? You're not going to work today. You're going to try to get, 2-3 plates in a day? Get at least 2 plates in before the food is gone. You know what I'm saying? Nothing worse than going in there. You about to smash. You get up too late. All the macaroni and cheese is gone. Who ate all the macaroni and cheese? And don't you hate it when you take a little plate and hide it and somebody go to your plate and your plate has been plundered? Oh, my God. You open that aluminum foil like, what the? I thought I had my macaroni and cheese in here. Your brother then took some of your macaroni and cheese. Your mama took some of your macaroni and cheese. You better get up early. Get up early. He said she having mac and cheese. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Having turkey and stuffing. Oh, man, that's hilarious. But enjoy. Enjoy. And good morning to you. That is hilarious. Oh, man. Okay, let me jump around here. I've been sharing a smattering of different topics this morning. And most recently, I was talking about the fact that FC Cincinnati, that's the soccer team here. There was a lot of controversy about where their stadium was going to be. Now they found it. They're going to be in the West End, and the deal is done, and it is what it is. But they're getting a new minority owner, and when I read some of the numbers in terms of what they're saying, that the valuation, and again, I don't know who did the valuation, but I'm sure anybody could do a valuation and say, yeah, it's worth $500 million. But I think that's remarkable. $500 million? It's quite interesting. I'm not a big Black Friday shopper. I won't be super into the going out to get deals. I mean, it's 9 o'clock. So all my deal people out there, if you're like a Black Friday deal person, you are already in the car. You're probably listening in the car right now, waiting for it to open in 5 minutes. You're going to run in there and get them deals going. And we'll be talking about all of the viral videos throughout the day. Because, when human beings get together, we can't act right. Just look at what happens at Popeye's Chicken. People say, oh, people getting shot with Popeye's chicken. No, it's not Popeye's Chicken. It's just that people don't know how to act when they get together and there's something they all want. Like if you had everybody rushing on Black Friday, I guarantee you we're going to see all kind of Black Friday fights. People fighting over deals. It's my TV. It's my TV. And, these stores are so, they know what they're doing. Like sometimes they'll do stuff online where you can do Black Friday stuff and like get some deals. But and oftentimes what I've seen, they want you to come into the store because they know if you take the time to drive to the store, more than likely you're going to buy something, especially if it's something that you already want. So if you're on the internet a lot and you go to a lot of different websites and maybe use the internet and Google to look up different things, have you noticed how all of a sudden the things that you looked up are now offering you Black Friday deals? Yeah. Some of that AdSense internet marketing. Yeah, they figure out what you've already, expressed an interest in, and they'll start sending you ads and coupons and deals. Why hit you with a whole coupon book of the stuff that you might not want when they can just go through your search history, figure out what you've already searched for, and give you what you've already searched for? Just makes more sense, right? More efficient. But it doesn't work on me because I buy what I'm cheap, I'm thrifty, and I don't get, unless it's something I already want, I'm not really swayed by. Something that's on sale that I don't want doesn't mean anything to me. Put it that way. Ham and eggs on deck at the alt middle layer. Is that right? Renee writes, that is the worst when someone dips in the hidden plate. I know. Think you got your plate and you take the foil, you double foil it, right? You put foil all around that motherfucker. You entomb it. You got foil on the top of the plate, at the bottom of the plate. You might put your name on it. Mines, M-I-N-E-S, mines. This is mines. And somebody goes in there. My brothers used to do that. Some little brother stuff. Black Russia writes, what was the West End doing before FC Cincinnati decided to build a state in there? Not a damn thing. Jeff Pastor is right when he said the West End hasn't been invested in by Democratic city officials of old. Well, no, Jeff Pastor was wrong when he said that. And then to try to make it about Democrats is just taking you away from the real issue. And I'll say it again. The West End had plenty of investment. Look at all the people that were down there. You got nonprofits down there. You had businesses down there. You had people that lived in the West End. You had homes and parks. You had a whole community in the West End. People need to stop saying that nobody has invested in the West End in 50 years. It is racist to overlook the investment that the people that lived in the West End made. If the West End didn't have any investment whatsoever and it was just a barren site, it wouldn't be as attractive to FC Cincinnati. Because they could have got that over in Northern Kentucky. They had a whole site. As far as you can see, near far you can see, it would have been nothing but FC Cincinnati. But that doesn't fit their business profile. That's not what Major League Soccer was looking for. They were looking for a situation very similar to the West End, where there was land available and there was already some residential and some other properties down there. So, Jeff Pastor was wrong. And I think he said that, and I watched the video. I think Kelly Prather was there that day. And she has some very interesting things to say to Jeff. I remember that. Question for the choppers. Did y'all eat stuffing or dressing yesterday? Stuffing or dressing? Isn't that the same thing? Stuffing, dressing. Okay, it is different. Okay, sorry about that. Same damn thing. So no, Black Russia, he was wrong about that. When people choose to live in an area, that's an investment. When people choose to open a business in a certain area, that's an investment. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was a barren wasteland and nobody knew what was going on in the West End, like it was like a secret. No, they had plenty of people live down there. Now, they might not have been the kind of people that had a lot of money and they didn't have political clout and they couldn't get on TV and they probably don't rub elbows with, the lenders and those kind of people. But even though they weren't wealthy and many of them may have been African-American, doesn't mean that their investment should be overlooked. I'll say it again. If there was no investment whatsoever and no one was down there, if it was just completely barren, it wouldn't have been as attractive to FC Cincinnati. So that's not true, Black Russia. Stop the madness. Stop the madness. As I look outside right now, this is great weather, man. When my brothers and I were younger, we'd be outside playing football, playing basketball. Great days. A part of me feels like there was a little bit of snow out there. You know what I'm saying? Make the holidays feel right. I like a little snow. Not too much ice. A little bit of snow is always good, but I'll take it. I'll take it. We all together. We all healthy for the most part. And it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Renee writes dressing. That was a trick question, right? What you should have been eating was your words, brother. You should have been eating your words. I'm getting a call from John from Princeton, New Jersey. He's going to give us some holiday salutations. That'll be great. Hold on one second, John. I'll bring you straight into the show, man. Let me see. John from Princeton, New Jersey, how are you?
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey, and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world. And yes, those chappers. John is not in Princeton. He is in sunny Florida, soaking in the sun and watching those beautiful Latinos. That's another story at another day.
What is that?
How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing better. You just put a great image in my head. So what's the weather down there in Florida?
It is sitting about 70, averaging this time of the season between 75, 80, 70 at night, gets up to about 80, 85. Nice and cool breeze that shoots across Miami, depending on where you're at. Miami, mostly I'm hanging out in the Fort Lauderdale area.
Okay.
There's a little bit more calmer up there in that area.
Okay, well, enjoy, man. It sounds like great weather. You on the beach, hanging out, going out tonight?
No, not on the beach, just hanging out with family and talking with an associate of mine up in the Fort Lauderdale, Coral Springs, thinking about driving up to West Palm, looking at houses and apartment, and I've given it some thought about migrating from New Jersey down into this area. We'll see. I'm just looking around.
Right. I remember you mentioned that before. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Now, did you talk about listening to one of the radio, internet, or should I say, radio stations here in Florida, and the brother talked about Rick Perry, I think last week, making idiotic statements, calling Donald Trump the chosen one. As I listened, and he played a clip of Rick Perry indicating, I guess, to a religious base. I looked at it as code words when he said that, the chosen one. It's a little sick to me. It sounds like Jim Jones all over again. Have you commented on that, or have you even followed that segment with Rick Perry? You might want to look that up. It was a statement that Rick Perry indicated as he was, I guess, in front of a religious-based group, and he indicated that he approached Donald Trump. He's no longer secretary, I think, of whatever that department he was running, but he approached Donald Trump, indicating that he supports Donald Trump, and he understands that Donald Trump, as long as he's a Christian-based so-and-so and so-and-so, that he thinks Donald Trump is the chosen one, chosen by God. It's like unbelievable. So as he was running his mouth, Rick Perry, and I'm so like, this is code words. I guess they're firing up their religious-based whack jobs, getting them to support Trump between now and 2020. Remember, Donald Trump got a number of votes in that 2016 election against Hillary, and that the religious base came out and voted for him. But the scary thing, and this brother that was on the radio station talked about, he kind of felt the same way I felt. This is code words for firing up the religious base going into the 2020 election. But the sick thing about it is, Donald Trump, you call him whatever you want to call him, and I felt, he's only, if he's chosen by the devil as far as I'm concerned. And Rick Perry can fire up that base all he wants. Well, we know he was a dummy of a governor. I forgot what state he came out of. I think that was Arkansas, I think. He was a nut job anyway. He doesn't know anything. But I guess this is only firing up the religious base. That's something you might want to look into, to talk to see what's going on with that conversation. But it's very interesting. I wasn't sure if you knew about it or not.
Okay, I'll look it up. No, it hasn't been on my radar screen, but I'll look it up.
How's the weather there? And finally, I'll end with this. I'm disappointed that my Cowboys decided to stink a bomb right there in the stadium of Dallas Stadium yesterday. they're on their way out, and it looks like that the coach is going to be fired probably between now and the end of the season. Probably the end of the season, he's going to be let go. And to have all that talent on that Dallas football team, I thought it would be Dallas and possibly New England. Yes, I know it's going to be New England. It's going to be in the Super Bowl. But I like to hear your comments. Out of all the teams, I still are favoring New England. But if you look at the Baltimore Ravens, how could you not? You've got to be a little scared. I think New England, that only loss they had was against the Ravens. And the way the Ravens are playing is like they're manhandling everybody in this league. I guess what we're seeing with the Ravens quarterback, Kansas City quarterback, and you're seeing a different wave of black quarterbacks coming into this league. We're taking the league to another level. And it's very interesting to see how this brother, that the quarterback for the Ravens, he feels the pressure. He gets the heck out of there fast. And how do you defend a defense like that? The defense is incredible for the Ravens, but how do you defend a quarterback that has a strong arm and he doesn't waste no time and get it out of that pocket? I'd like to hear your opinion.
I don't have any opinions about the Ravens and all that kind of stuff, man. I haven't really been paying attention to it.
Well, I know you have some opinion about your Cincinnati Bengals. They've been stinking up the league. I guess they're positioning themselves for the number one draft choice. I guess they'll ride out the season with a loss and try to get that number one choice. But hopefully they make a choice, pick a choice. Hopefully it's not a bad choice. That team had to be dismantled, the Bengals altogether. Defense, offensive line. But in this league of the NFL, the quarterback is only as good as that offensive line. The New England Patriot. That coach, they pay millions of dollars for that offensive line to protect Brady. And they do a good job doing it. Well, I'm sorry, you probably don't even want to talk about the Bengals anymore. You're probably fed up with them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really into the Bengals like that, man. Yeah, my only thing is I hope they go 0-77. So we need to lose like every game for 5 years straight. That'll be dope.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah. You want them to just go undefeated for the next 70 games, you said?
No, I want them to be defeated for the next 70 games or so, yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and the reason why is because they had a woman named, her name is Judge Tracy Hunter. She's out now. But she was incarcerated unjustly on some BS in Hamilton County's jail for about 70 days. So, Hamilton Countyans seem to be so invested in the Bengals. I think it'd be fair if they lose about 77 games in a row. So that's my theory about the Bengals.
Well, I followed listening to you and Lincoln Ware and various other people and going on the internet following former Tracy Hunter's case. And yes, you're right. Rightfully so. The system decided to pull the wool over her and incarcerate her. But the pressure on the judge and the people, they had to release her. What is the status of her? I haven't heard anything. She's going to fight this continuously, or is she just going to go off into the sunset and let it go?
All right. John, listen, I appreciate the phone call, man. Take it easy.
Oh, no, I was asking you, have you heard any status on Judge Hunter? What is the latest status? She's going to fight the system now she's out of jail. She's going to fight it, or is she's going to just go off into the sunset and let the situation go? Do you know?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
All right. Okay. All right. Have a good day.
Yep. Take it easy. John just wants to talk this morning, which is, one of the purposes why I'm here. I'm down to talk. But, the Ravens, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me talk about America's Got Talent. Do you watch that show? AGT is what they call it, America's Got Talent, season 14. And there's a little controversy because Gabrielle Union, I didn't even know she was on the show, but she's going to be missing from the lineup. Apparently, they have some issues. Apparently, they have some issues. Isn't that the same show that Nick Cannon used to be the host of back in, I don't know, to about 2017? Then they let him go because I think he used the N-word or something in the video or something like that. I don't think he used it in the show during the show, but And apparently Gabrielle Union has some issues with them that involve perhaps people even saying like some stuff about her hair. Like her hair was too black or something like that for her to continue to be on the show, which I don't know what the demographics of that show is. It's a daytime show, right? Not a daytime show, but it's like a network show. Like it's one of the networks. So, that's going to be a different kind of audience for sure. It's going to be a different kind of audience. And generally speaking, I've got a favorable opinion of Gabrielle Union. And for me, I don't watch the show anyway. So if I don't watch it, I'm not watching it now. But it looks like she left the show on some BS. Something about a whole bunch of comments, some jokes that were made that were racially insensitive. And then maybe even her hair, which it seems so stereotypical. Apparently, she called out the racial insensitivity on the show. And when she did that, it's like, oh, well, you got to go. You know how the game is. Some folks will tell jokes back and forth. That's all he funny. And then when you find an issue with it, all of a sudden, you're the problem. It's not them, you're the problem. And apparently their co-star and comedian Jay Leno is part of the problem. So apparently they were taping a segment and he cracked a joke about Simon Cowell's being surrounded by dogs or something like that, and said something about a Korean restaurant and being on the menu, which I guess some people could take that as being racist or whatever. But Gabrielle Union said, I'm not here for none of that here. I ain't here for none of that. And apparently she got harsh criticism for her hair for being too black for audiences. Too black for audiences. Huh? It's the craziest thing in the world. I mean, let's say the audience is a majority non-black audience, because I don't know what their audience is. Let's say it is. Non-black people love them some black culture. Non-black people love them some black culture. Primarily when it's being disseminated by an artist that looks like them. So they'll criticize Gabrielle Union because her hair is too black, but the audience is running around here trying to be like Beyonce. Running around here with cornrows. I don't get it. Sounds like it just wasn't a good spot for her. That's what it sounds like. As I'm reading through this article here, I'm on the Grio. It sounds like it just wasn't a good spot for her. And sometimes that's just how it is. You ever been in a situation and it's new and you start to see little things like, oh, snap. Oh, no. Oh, this ain't the spot for me. I'm going to have to leave. Right? You ever been there before? You ever gotten to a new spot or scenario and the first time you're in that environment, you realize, oops, my bad, this ain't going to work. It could have been like that. Because the thing about it is, if you sit by and let people tell those kind of jokes around you, eventually you're going to be the joke. He's sitting around making, jokes about dogs being on the menu at Korean restaurants and things like that. And before you know it, the next minority will be on this comedic menu. Too black. So apparently they removed her from the environment over her complaints over a problematic environment. And that's how the game goes. People are trying to turn it back on you when they're dead wrong. They're dead wrong. Jesse writes, John Carlin, tell us the history of pilgrims, right? Now, we got it, John. Thank you so much. We got it, B. You're going to run it all the way down. Did you know that? No, we didn't know. We didn't know. I am aware of the Ravens. I am aware of Lamar Jackson. I haven't watched any of the games. I'm barely watching the highlights of the Bengals. I haven't watched any Bengal highlights in 2 or 3 games. I mean, do we even have a team? I read an article that said that when the Bengals are so bad that it's having a very negative impact on the banks and the ability of the people on the banks to make money. And I think that what's the next game? The next game is a home game and the Jets are coming. that's probably going to be their best shot to get a win to this point this year. So if you care about that kind of thing, then watch the next game. You might get a win then. I'll be upset if they win. I'll be upset, quite honestly. How many people went out last night? Did you go out last night? Did you go downtown? I'd like to know. Colin Kaepernick's conscious writes, why is Gabrielle Union caping for Koreans? Her husband is paid. Why don't they create a business that Gabby runs? Because she is an attention whore. She, like Aisha Curry, needs to readjust her career goals. You have rich husbands. Leave the struggling actress bit alone. Yeah, but again, no matter how rich her husband or they may be, you still should be speaking out about BS when it happens to you, when it happens around you. What's the saying go? Cutting through the BS, right? Cutting through the BS podcast. Check it out, subscribe, download, wherever you listen to podcasts. But even though you got money, don't mean you should be in a racially insensitive environment, because if you're smart, if you sitting around and it's you and a bunch of white folks, and the white folks is telling jokes about minorities, not necessarily your racial background, but other minorities, it's a matter of time before you on a menu, because they figure you weak as hell. You ain't going to say nothing. And that's people's nature. There's some people's nature like that. Like if they can sense a little in or weakness on you, they'll try to seize upon it. So you're going to sit there. See, here you go again, Colin Kaepernick, a.k.a. Fame, giving this weak-ass advice. As if Gabrielle Union shouldn't speak her mind because her husband is paid. That's why she should. If anybody should, it should be her, because her livelihood is not connected to the show. So if your livelihood is not connected to the show, then why would you tolerate or subject yourself to any BS at all? I don't get it. That's bad advice right there, bro. Bad advice, man. There you go again. You slipping again, bro. You slipping. Buy nothing day. Instead of buying black, buy nothing day, huh? Okay. Oh, I love it. I am still here. I have not left you. Study finds, is this new? Study finds Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana rank among nation's dumbest states. A new study shows that Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana rank among the quote-unquote dumbest states in America, according to the study conducted by safehome.org. The rankings were based on 4 categories: residents 25 and older with bachelor degrees, public high school graduation rate, median SAT scores, and an average percentage of ACT takers meeting benchmarks. In Ohio, residents 25 and older with bachelor's degrees, 17.3%. Is that right? So in the state of Ohio, only 17% of people over 25 have a bachelor's degree. That is interesting. In Kentucky, their number is 14%. And in Indiana, 17%. Only 17%? That is quite interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought the number would have been just a little bit higher, but it is what it is. Good morning to you. I'll throw the number out to the ether this morning, 513-873-7134. If you would like to share your thoughts this morning, today's show is going to be a little bit different just because it's damn near like a holiday today. A lot of people were off yesterday and they're off today, right? Unless you really have to, or you really, really want to, or maybe you're saving your days up for something special or something like that. I get it. So you went into work today. I get it. see here. Sorry, I'm just a little bit. I'm not 100%. Still a little bit under the weather, I feel, as I'm sitting here right now talking with you. Oh, that was great. Great images. Help write the plan to end violence in Cincinnati. This is from Neighborhoods United, huh? Okay. It's a new group here in the city of Cincinnati that I think, not sure who started it, but I see Brian Gary out front and center on it. And they're trying to come up with plans on how to address the gun violence in the city of Cincinnati. Okay. Okay, I see it. Okay, cool. I hope you're successful in that. Quite interesting. I mean, I think all we can do is raise awareness. Tightening the laws, all that's going to do is create a second-class society of people coming in and out of the system. Nobody benefits from having a lot of people coming in and out of the system for relatively minor things. We'll see what they come up with. You know, Brian Carey has been in the community for a long time. Seems like he runs for city council every year. I don't know if he's going to be running in 2021, so this will definitely help to keep the prominence out there. Plus, his name out there. Plus, hey, it's needed. So when people say, oh, nobody cares about the gun violence, that's not true. You got the Neighborhoods United folks. They care about the gun violence. Let me see. Cincinnati Bearcats is a real football team in this town. They play today at 3:30 p.m. on an ABC. Oh, do they? Okay. Wasn't hit. That's the, is that the football team or it's the football team. Okay. You know me, we go Bearcats, man. All day long. That's hilarious. I don't ever understand it, man. It just world is so crazy, man. I'm telling you, man, we are living in the last days of common sense. So I spend a lot of time on YouTube more and more. I've just sort of did a self-analysis and found out. It just sort of works for me. And get a lot of my news, highlights, just get off of there. Views, and the Nathan Ivey Show. The audio is up on YouTube every single day. If that's a medium that you use, you can check out the show there. And I'm on YouTube, man. I was on some website called, I don't know what it was called. It was called something. It's one of these animal-friendly websites, right, where they like to highlight these unusual relationships between animals and humans, right? And so I watched the video. I don't know how I got on the video. Maybe my daughter turned me into it or something like that, or it just came up on my screen. And I watched this video last week of this woman. It's a white woman, and she befriended a squirrel. And it just blew my mind because I didn't know you could tame a squirrel. Apparently, she goes to her backyard one day and the squirrel was just like laying right there as a baby. She nurses it back to health. The squirrel lives in the house. The squirrel is like a cat. She feeds it. The squirrel will get up on her shoulder and kiss her. She's kissing the squirrel. Just the nastiest shit you ever heard of in your life. And I thought to myself, this is the most unusual thing I've ever seen in my life. I was thinking, what I was thinking, white people, right? Who's going to have a relationship with a damn squirrel? Now, I was always told to leave squirrels alone because when I was a kid, I tried to catch them. And my folks would always tell me that squirrel will scratch you up. He used to always say that to me, but as a kid, I mean, yeah, right, this little squirrel's going to do this cute little thing's not going to do anything. Squirrels are vicious animals. I couldn't believe it. That was last week. This week, I'm on YouTube, right? I'm looking at stuff because I'm not feeling well. I look on YouTube, same channel. Man, some white dude befriended a praying mantis. I'm not making this up. He's like leaving his job one day or leaving the mall one day, and he walks out to his car, and there's a praying mantis on the wheel. So what would you do? You walk out to your car, and there's a praying mantis on your wheel. This mofo goes over and extends his hand, and the praying mantis is like driving around with him in his damn car, like on his shoulder. He takes the praying mantis into his house. He becomes his friend for like weeks. The praying mantis comes to him. They're talking. He's feeding him insects. This is the craziest I've ever seen in my life. This is way beyond Dr. Doolittle. This is psychotic. This mofo had a praying, this white guy, he's a white male. He had a praying mantis as his little animal buddy, right? So we go into the kitchen. The praying mantis will like jump up on the counter as he cooking food. It's like, what in the hell, man? What, bro? Something's not right there. My mind wouldn't even. If I come out there and I'm like, if I come out to my car and I see a praying man, as I'm walking to my car, I see like a little insect or something on the wheel. As I'm getting into the car, I'll be thinking to myself, you better get the fuck off that wheel, because if not, you're gonna get crushed. I wouldn't even think anything else about it. I'm not going to stop the car. I'm not going to try to, shoo. I'm just going to get in the car. And if the motion of me turning on the vehicle doesn't scare the insect away, this is your day, buddy. Is that wrong? Am I wrong in that? Who is more crazy? What is normal in a situation like that? I just don't think it's normal to be befriending things. Like, if I go into my backyard right now and I see a little squirrel, that motherfucker ain't coming in my house ever. If you need surgery, you better call the paramedics. Oh, you don't have their number? Psh, you ain't gonna make it, B. I got a shovel. We'll just take your little body and put you in the trash. But picking up the animals and bringing them to your house, and oh my God, I think I got one of my son's bottles we left. We kept it all these years. I'm gonna put a little milk in there and I'm gonna feed the squirrel. Oh, wait a minute. I think I got an eyedropper. I'm going to go get an eyedropper. I'm going to give me a little milk. Here you go, baby squirrel. What do I look like? I don't give a damn if it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah. I don't care. It makes no difference, but I guess I'm different. I guess I don't like animals, huh? The hell? I had to share that with you. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, man. Now, I swear to God, you can find it on YouTube. I'm not exaggerating, not even a little bit. I'm probably leaving some crazy stuff out. She's like kissing the squirrel, like, oh, you're just so affectionate. So affectionate. This man had a praying mantis, man. He was taking a little ussy photographs with him and his praying mantis. White people. What are you doing? I can't imagine my son, he calls me up like, Dad. What up, son? Dad, I found a friend today. Oh, word? What's her name? No. It's a praying mantis. What the fuck did you just say? I might say something like that to my son. I'm not taking care of no stray animals. I'm way past that. Like little birds, I'm not going to do anything negative to you. I'm not going to harm you. I'm just not going out of my way on no Dr. Doolittle shit. I'm sorry. I got 2 children, man. I tell people all the time, I got 2 kids. I ain't got time for that. I got a 5-year-old. Yo, check it. I got a 5-year-old. Exactly. You remember your kids was 5? That's where I'm at right now. How do I look like bringing in? What's next? I found a pet mosquito. Oh, look at my little friend mosquito. Oh, he's going to suck the... Come on, man. That's not your friend. That's not your friend. It's not your friend. You're not friends with the animals. They're not like in on. He is terrified. You're going to do something crazy. Ah, man. But I digress. Let me throw the number out to the ether and see what happens. 513-873-7134. It's a beautiful Friday now. Now, no Donnie B show today. She'll be back next week, back in better than ever. She's enjoying the holidays with her family. And I hope you're doing the same thing, enjoying the holidays with your family as well, because that's what it is. Even if you don't call it Thanksgiving, call it whatever you want to call it. But to have a little time with your family, the people you grew up with. Some families have beefs. You ever went to a family's house, they start talking about old beefs? Yeah, you like maybe your girlfriend, or maybe it's the first time your wifey engaged, whatever, and you go to their house, they start arguing amongst themselves, and you're like, oh boy, I don't need to be here. You ever been through that before? Thanksgiving can be good and bad. It can be good. It can be good, like everybody's eating, everybody's healthy, you watching the game, everybody's laughing. Some people do like Soul Train dances. They do like little dance competitions. All that stuff is within the Black family ritual through the history of mankind. It's just fellowshipping and greeting people over food and dance is a part of who we are, and it will always be that way. I mean, if you can't dance in front of your family and be silly in front of your family, who can you be silly in front of, right? Absolutely. But there's some families that have emotional problems, trauma, abuse, and it spills out when everybody gets together in Thanksgiving. It could be over something small, like you always do that. You said you were going to do the deviled eggs last year, and you forgot the deviled eggs. It's not even really about the deviled eggs. It's about some stuff that happened between the sisters a long time ago. It'd be the women in the family. Let's be honest here. It'd be the aunties that be falling out. The sisters be falling out. Cousins be falling out. I don't like that B. That B, that's your first cousin. I knew I shouldn't have came here. You should have came to your grandma's house. You grew up in this house. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I've had the Thanksgivings. I'll be honest with you, man, in a sad way, but after my grandparents passed away, because usually in my household for years and years and years, my grandparents' house was the house that we went to for Thanksgiving. Okay, it was a house that they owned. And again, when you're growing up in a household and your family own a house, is different than when you grew up in a household and your family rent a house. It's different. And studies show that. Studies show that kids that grew up in households where their family owns the house test higher when it comes to their academics. It makes sense on some levels if you really think about it. So, I grew up in my grandparents' home. Everybody would go to their house. It'd be a house full of people. 3 floors, everybody on the floor. Everybody's on the floor. When they passed away, we stopped doing it like that because they were the glue of our particular families. And I'm wondering if you had a similar experience. And if that responsibility doesn't either get passed down or somebody else that has like a home that can accommodate people and is willing to do that, if they don't step up and do it, what happens to the family? It starts to get all disjointed. Like you get 2 or 3 people over here. I'm going over such and such house. So it's going to be 3 people here, 4 people here, 1 person there. It's sad, man, but it's also life. It's also life. Colin Kaepernick writes, if you don't follow Salt Bae on Instagram, you are missing out. The things he does with meat, are invigorating, and he doesn't even speak in the videos. I'm so surprised to hear you say that, man, because Salt Bae is full of bullshit. Salt Bae? You talking about that Asian dude that be like salting the food? That's not how the hell you handle meat. I've seen these videos before. That is so overrated, homie. I'm surprised to hear you say that because you're usually more critical about that, Fame. Salt Bae. This motherfucker, you don't do that with beef. He be throwing the food around. He didn't even wash that surface off. He washed his hands. When you're salting something, you don't have to salt it like that. Salt Bae. That's a scam right there. That's what that is. That is a scam, Salt Bae. Well, if you don't know who Salt Bae is, salt, as in salt, S-A-L-T, you know what I'm saying? You put it on your food, Bae, B-A-E. I think he's a chef of Asian descent. And apparently he's like the best kept secret of the stars. And he does all these big swanky parties for people like P. Diddy and Beyonce and all these folks. He's got a very distinctive style when he's seasoning his food. He don't just take the salt shaker and just shake it on there the way you want it to. It's almost like he's like got magic hands. He's got jazz hands or some shit. He's got jazz hands. He's got food hands. It's stupid. It's dumb. I watched it. No. Colin Kaepernick writes, I robbed a dude last night, told homie, thanks for giving. That's good to know. hopefully you didn't just, incriminate all of us and make us accomplices in your little, I'm not sure what you want to call it. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm searching right now. I'm online. Sorry about the so-called dead air. Sorry about that. Trying to get a sense of what's been happening. To give you a sense of what people might be talking about, this may or may not be on your radar screen. And I'm just a little bit under the weather. I mean, oh man, it was not good. Let's put it that way. With no details, let's just say not good. It was not good these last 12 hours. Oh, okay, look good to see you, Pam. Looking great. Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. Like it. You robbed the dude last night. Okay, I think I read that. So when I started the show, we started talking about a couple of things locally. So if you haven't heard, you know that there was a tragic, very tragic accident that happened in a downtown building. And there was some concrete that basically was a tragic accident. And they were searching for a worker. And we were hoping out that perhaps this worker, this man, would be found alive. And he was not, just to give you an update on that. So, I mean, just imagine right before the holidays, this is a working man on his job, probably for him and his family. That's a dangerous job. These work sites, we take it for granted because we don't hear about situations like this. But, you got the scaffold. There's a reason why they wear hard hats and boots and things like that. There's a lot of safety measures. And again, I don't have the details as to what happened. Also downtown last night, one dead, one critically injured in a downtown Cincinnati shooting. Now, who's getting into a shootout on Thanksgiving at a bar? And why do you have a gun at a bar anyway? It's Thanksgiving. Like, yo, if you got enemies out here, then stay at home, homie. If you've done some things in these streets and you got people looking for you for whatever reason, justified or unjustified, stay your ass at home, homie. Homie, don't go out into the streets and put other people's lives in jeopardy. Yeah, it's called the Chalet downtown. I've never been to it, I don't think. Hold on, here's a video of people running from the scene. Oh, snap. Oh, yeah, this is quite interesting, man. Happened around midnight last night, 900 block. Oh, I see it right now. I see people running. Mofos is out. Damn. That's what it looks like when somebody got a gun. They was out. And what was last night? Thursday night, Ray Street, 900 block. Okay, I've got a good understanding of where that is because that's the 900 block. Okay, I think I know exactly where that is. 9th Street race. And apparently there were multiple gunshots and 2 victims were males in their 20s. Do you think they were white males or black males? Crime Stoppers, if you have any information, 513-352-3040. I'm looking at the image. They shut down downtown yesterday. They shut down 9th Street and Ray Street downtown because they were doing their investigation. And I'm seeing all kinds of what appears to be shell casings. So it looks like it was some real ish going on. I'm telling you, man, anytime. Man, listen, in the Clifton area about 3 months ago, during the daytime, there was a drive-by shooting. There were 2 cars. One was chasing another, and they were shooting each other, driving down Taft, headed toward UC area. You know where Maryston Academy is? Right around Maryston Academy, it was a shootout, midday, broad daylight. Never can tell, man. Anything can happen. Kush is in the house. He writes, good morning, Nate. And the chopper say, good to see you, Kush, as always, brother. Hope you're having a good holiday. I see people are trickling in. Now, I'm with you up until 10 a.m. this morning. Then I got to make a move for several reasons, not the least of which is my overall health. I just don't think I can do another hour, quite honestly. I'm holding it together right now, but I enjoy it. So let's get into it. 513-873-7134. So I've given you a little bit of what's been on my radar screen, an update or so about what's going on. I don't have any Black Friday deals in terms of things you can take to the store per se. But of course, I suppose a lot of folks will be out there doing a thing. I'll just say, watch your back. And keep your head on a swivel, because you never know. And I also talked about the story up in Chicago of Ruth George. She was an honor student at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and she was found dead in her car last Saturday. Now, I think about this is right before Thanksgiving. This young woman was found dead in her car. She had been strangled to death, 19 years old. She was a sophomore at UIC. And the police have a man in custody. He's 26 years old. His name was Donald Thurman, black man. Police are saying that he basically got upset because she turned down his cat calls. Yeah, so he walked past her, she walked past him, and he was catcalling her. She ignored him. He followed her into the damn parking garage, came up behind her, strangled her. When she was unconscious, he put her in the back of the car, pulled up the back of her dress, and sexually assaulted her, raped her, and then left her. What kind of trash is that? That's human trash right there. That's human trash. I'm looking at images of this young girl, and I mean, that could be my daughter. That could be my daughter. I'm looking at images of her and her family. They just lost their daughter for no reason. I mean, this man had no reason whatsoever other than she turned down his advances. So my question is, ladies, I know you've been in that situation before where maybe you've been somewhere and a man was catcalling you. What runs through your head? Are you thinking, you know what, is this guy, do I have to pacify him in some way? Hey, thank you so much, but no. Is it the way you do it? Did she totally ignore him and didn't say a word? And so he got offense to it like, oh, you just think I'm nothing, huh? I'm going to show you what I am. That's probably what happened. She probably didn't say a word to him, which maybe, you know, the smart thing to do in a situation like that is try to keep him talking. Oh, really? Thank you. You know, thank them for their advances, even if you don't want to. It's a damn shame what people got to do just to get along. Like in the world that I want to live in, a woman shouldn't have to respond at all to some dude that she's walking past without the fear that he's going to go all Jason Voorhees on her and take her out the game. But we don't. We don't live in that world. Mason Marlon writes, shit like this is why I stay on some grown folk shit and stay away from the drama. Never got shot at a wine or bourbon tasting, right? Yeah, why are you taking a gun in? Well, it's a couple of reasons. Number one, were they inside of one of the bars down there at that bar and then it spilled out? Because my thing is, why are you taking a weapon into a bar like that? To me, that's a no-no. And I get it. CCW, you know I'm all about that, but I just feel like, well, the other question is, why wouldn't you take your gun into a bar like that, right? You might be in a bar and somebody come in and try to rob the place, or somebody has a bad day and they want to do something crazy. You never know, so I kind of get it. Mason Muller writes, Donald Trump is a super predator. F him. Speaking of Donald Trump, our president showed up for the troops. He was in Afghanistan, I believe, for Thanksgiving. He kind of showed up and surprised everybody. Nobody knew he was going to be there. And he was doing his old presidential thing. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with the impeachment stuff. Karamia writes, another glorious morning. Good morning, Choppers and Nate. Yes, it is another glorious morning. Yes, it is. Salt Bay. Come on, man. Some damn Salt Bay. I mean, anybody go look at them videos right now, you'll know what I'm saying. That's some BS. Playing with people's food. That's all he's doing, playing with food and getting paid for it. You don't have to salt no damn food like that. Just put the salt on there and rub it on there like you got some damn sense. Look, nobody cooks like black people. You ain't never seen no black people salting their food like that. Nobody can get down and salt their food the way Southern folks know how to do it. I ain't never seen nobody do Salt Bae. I've seen my grandmother skin fish. I've seen her cut meat. I'm not sure what it was, ribs or something. I've seen her do all that stuff. She never did that shit, ever. You got to throw the salt in the hand, throw it up in the air, and then you hold the meat like it's a pizza and try to catch it all before it hits the ground and all this kind of stuff. He throws the salt up in the air, he does like a little flip, and then he puts it on the meat. That's playing with food. But of course, in America, I mean, you can make a hustle out of anything, including playing with food. Actually, Salt Bae is a pretty smart guy. He got all these big time, and see, he can only pull it off because he's an Asian. Because he's got Asian descent, and you got all these stereotypes about people from the Orient, and he's got some magical way of doing things. The kung fu of food or something like that. That's the only way. If a brother tried to do that, they'd be like, man, stop playing with food. I mean, he'll take like a rack of lamb and like throw it up. It'll hit the top. It'll hit the ceiling, come back down, hit the floor. He picks it up, eat, and that's your food. No. Sorry. I'm not doing it. Good morning to you. I throw my number out again, 513-873-7134. I'll go slow just to make sure that everybody hears me. If you want to share your thoughts, you got me up into the top of the hour. That's for the next 12 minutes. Nathan Ivey with you now. I'll be with you again on Monday morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. Okay, I like it. Okay, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Interesting. Is that right? How much validity in there? When was this article first published, though, is what I'm trying to find. Oh, okay. Marriage rates are steadily declining since 1960. Did you know that? Most American women hope to marry, but current shortages of marriageable men with a stable job and a good income, make this increasingly difficult, especially in the current gig economy of unstable, low-paying service jobs. Marriage is still based on love, but it also is fundamentally an economic transaction. Yes, it is. It's an economic transaction. I've said it before. This is from Daniel T. Lichtner, PhD of Cornell University, and one of the authors of this study. Quite interesting. So many young men today have little to bring to the marriage bargain, especially as young women's education levels on average now exceed their male suitors. You know, I just feel like this is some shit that's been used to like break up, you know, families and convince certain women that unless you find a man who's making exactly the amount of money you have, that somehow you can't work together. I hear people saying stuff like equally yoked. I don't know what the fuck that means. That's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Like when people say, oh, we got to be equally yoked before we get married. So if I am a lawyer, okay, are you telling me that I can only be with somebody who's either a lawyer or has an advanced degree in order for that person to have some kind of role in my life? That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life. And, you know, I think you got a lot of professional black female women that's got it going on who unfortunately have this shit in their heads. And it's stopping them from having relationships with men that could be truly beneficial. So here's what I mean. Let's say you take a woman who's making $100,000 a year, okay? Are you saying that she shouldn't consider being with a man unless the man is somewhere in her range? Let's say he's got to be making at least within $30,000. So she's making 100, so he's got to at least make 70. Is that what you're saying to me? That doesn't make any sense. Because, here's how I would look at it. This is different. Maybe I'm different. Let's say you got one partner. Let's say it's the female. She's making $100,000. She meets a man who is equally yoked in terms of their values. To me, after being married for 19 years, after getting married around the same time as my friends and then watching their relationships, go end in divorce and talking with them. When people talk about equally yoked, to me, that's what they should be talking about. Like your mentality and what you produced and what you're trying to produce. So here's what I mean. You take a woman that's making $100,000. On the outside looking in, you can say she got that going on. She don't need nobody. She got her own thing. She taking care of her own thing. She taking care of all her own business. That's great. She meets a dude that's making $50,000 a year. Are you telling me that if they put their heads together, they could have a $150,000 a year operation if their mentality is right? And the last time I checked, $150,000 is more than $100,000. So they can still win. You got two adults with two incomes. One person makes dramatically more than the other. That doesn't mean that the other income is not having an impact whatsoever. I mean, if you're smart, you putting your money together, you can stack even more chips together. That's how I look at it. But some people, man, they get caught up in, I'm making $200,000 a year. He's got to make $200,000 a year. Well, I mean, shit, you're limiting your choices here. But you might have somebody that took a different route. Could be a great brother. Could be a great man. But he's not making $100,000 a year. He might be making $60,000 a year. That means he's less of a choice, less of a catch. I don't believe it. And the reason I don't believe it, because when you flip this, before, we broke the glass ceiling and men were the breadwinners across the board and women had limited opportunities, that was a traditional thing. Women would maybe play more of a domestic role, or maybe she's got a second job or something. It still impacts the relationship. And men, primarily at that point in time, were maybe the primary breadwinners. That seemed to work. So if you flip it, why can't that work as well? I don't know. You tell me. Marriage is an economic transaction. That's what people don't realize before they get married. It's 100% economics. Because you can get sex anywhere. All that mishmash about not having sex before you marry, you can go put that and drown that in the river somewhere. The reality is that adults are having sex. You don't have to be married to have sex. You don't have to be married to find a companion. You ain't got to be married for all that. You don't have to be married to be happy in your life. Man, I've met women who have convinced themselves that they're never going to be happy unless they get married. It's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Whoever said no? And the reality is you should already be happy before you get married. Because if you're not, it's going to fuck up the marriage. All day long. I'm seeing that Pete Buttigieg says that being gay helps him relate to black people's struggle. It didn't say that he completely identifies. It just says that it helps him relate to black people's struggle. Huh. I would say no. I would say no. I would say no. 100%. That'll make no sense. Oh, man, that was a very beautiful little girl they have here. Oh, man, that's great. Oh, snap. Looks like Ray J's been cheating again. I mean, you married Ray J, you know what he is, man. I mean, damn, he got famous off of that Kim Kardashian video. Come on, man. Ah, boy, bad things happening to black families. Not good, but what can you say? What is this? Holiday carolers. Oh, okay. That's great. Bernie Sanders plans to cancel all U.S. debt. All U.S. student debt. $1.6 trillion. Now, is that even possible? Quote, the American people have bailed out Wall Street. Now it's time for Wall Street to come to the aid of the middle class of this country. Now, he's got a great point on that one, doesn't he? He has a point. Like when Bernie Sanders says that we bailed out Wall Street, we did. Collectively as taxpayers, we certainly did bail out Wall Street. So what is Wall Street going to do for us? That's a fair question. I like that question. I ain't mad at it. See here. This proposal completely eliminates student debt in this country, and ends the absurdity of sentencing an entire generation, the millennial generation, to a lifetime of debt for the crime of doing the right thing. And that is going out and getting a higher education. I agree. Like if you decided to educate yourself and be a fine, upstanding citizen of this country, then you're making a major decision that's going to help this country. This country should help you. I had no problem with it. I have student loan debt, so I'm not just thinking about me, but it makes sense. Under Miss Elizabeth Warren's proposal, because, Elizabeth Warren has a similar proposal. Under Elizabeth Warren's proposal, individuals with a household income under $100,000 would have $50,000 of their student debt eliminated. Those with incomes up to $250,000 would also see substantial debt cancellation, but the top 5% earning over $250,000 would not be eligible for any relief. So I'm not even sure what that means, the top 5% of people who earn over $250,000. Is that like millionaires? Because if you're a millionaire, if you're making millions of dollars a year, you shouldn't be worried about student loan debt. If you're making, let's say you're making $225,000 a year and you live in Cincinnati. Well, depending on what your expenses are, you should be able to deal with your student loan debt. I like this idea. I love these conversations. This is what we need. Yeah. Because all it's going to do is help the economy. Instead of that money going to pay back these student loan payments, now these people will have more disposable income. They'll just go buy Xboxes. They'll buy cheese conies, and they'll buy, pumpkin spice beer and all the other little shit that human beings like to do with their money. Yeah, I like this idea. I like this idea. Yeah, I think I'm down with this. I'm down with. Now Bernie is saying he wants to totally eliminate it. So it's like a race as to who can give you more debt relief. And the way that Bernie Sanders wants to do this is he wants to do this through a new tax on Wall Street transactions. So he wants to tax the rich to give student debt relief to the middle class. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it. I don't, because if you're very wealthy in America, you're living an incredible life. If you're a millionaire in Ohio, if you're making millions of dollars every year in Ohio, you're living an incredible quality of life that your money can bring you. It doesn't say anything about your health or your mental state or your relationships, but in terms of your economic well-being, unless you are just doing some Gilligan stuff with your money, if you're making $1 million a year and you live in Cincinnati, you're living like a king. If you're making $1 million a year and you're not even $1 million a year, you're living like a king. You're living in the best neighborhoods, right? You got the money to do all of the events, front row seat to any event that comes to the Cincinnati area. You're there. If that means season tickets to the opera, season tickets to the Bengals, singles tickets to the Reds, FC Cincinnati, you name it. You're living a great lifestyle, so you got to pay for that. You got to pay for that lifestyle. to make sure that the rest of us are still doing well. I don't have a problem with it. None whatsoever. Listen, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I'll be back with you on Monday morning, bright and early. Have an excellent weekend. My name is Nathan Ivy. This is the Nathan Ivy Show. This show will be made available as a podcast within the hour. All right, have an excellent day. All right, have an excellent day. Check out the podcast produced by Sin Digital Media right now on our Facebook page. And wherever you listen to podcasts, you can check out those podcasts. The Truth and Power podcast, hosted by the Cincinnati NAACP. Is It Just Me podcast, hosted by Donnie B. Of course, you can get the Nathan Ivy Show, as you know. Probably already subscribed to it. Absolutely. The Dope Chicks Collective podcast, you can check it out. Dope Chicks, Black Women in Progress. And of course, the Cut Through the BS podcast and the Hot Mic podcast, hosted by myself and a member of City Council, PG Sinfeld. We chop it up on local issues, national issues. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to any of those podcasts. So please subscribe to whatever platform works for you. And I'll be back with you on Monday morning, bright and early. Until then, I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.